It is the moment they realize they can no longer control your reaction. That is when the mask changes. The warm tone becomes colder. The jokes become sharper. The concern becomes pressure. The silence becomes punishment. And the people who once benefited from your guilt suddenly act offended by your boundaries. These are the toxic people signs most people notice too late. Because toxic people rarely lose control loudly at first. They lose it through small shifts. A delayed reply, a colder voice, a strange look, a joke that cuts too deep, a sudden accusation that you have changed, a fake concern that somehow makes you feel guilty for protecting yourself. And if you do not understand what is happening, you will make the same mistake most kind people make. You will explain. You will soften your tone. You will apologize for your boundary. You will try to prove that you are not rude, not selfish, not cold, not arrogant. And that is exactly how they pull you back. So today, you will learn how to deal with toxic people when they cannot control you anymore. Not by becoming cruel, not by playing their game, but by becoming harder to move. Because the goal is not to win their approval. The goal is to stop being controlled by their reaction. The first thing toxic people do when they cannot control you is they turn your boundary into an insult. You say, "I cannot do that today." They hear, "You do not care about me." You say, "I need space." They hear, "You think you are better than me." You say, "I do not want to keep arguing." They hear, "You are disrespecting me." But listen carefully. A healthy person may feel disappointed by your boundary. A toxic person feels exposed by it. Because your boundary reveals something they were enjoying. Access. Access to your time. Access to your guilt. Access to your emotional energy. Access to the old version of you. The version that would rush to fix every uncomfortable feeling in the room. That is why they do not just react to the word no. They react to what your no proves. It proves you are no longer easy to use. And this is where most kind people make the mistake. They explain, they soften, they apologize. They try to make the other person comfortable with a boundary that was never meant to be comfortable. But the more you explain a boundary to someone committed to breaking it, the more you train them to believe your boundary is negotiable. So use one clean sentence. "I understand you are disappointed. My answer is still no." No long speech. No emotional trial. No begging to be seen as good. A boundary does not need to be cruel, but it does need to be real. Because the people who get offended by your limits were usually benefiting from your lack of them. One of the most dangerous toxic relationship signs is fake concern. It does not sound aggressive. It sounds soft. It sounds mature. It sounds like they care. They say, "I'm just worried about you." But somehow, the conversation becomes about controlling your decision. They say, "You have changed." But what they really mean is, "You are harder to influence." They say, "I miss the old you." But the old you was exhausted. The old you was over-explaining. The old you was afraid to disappoint them. Be careful when someone only misses the version of you that had no boundaries. Because that is not love. That is nostalgia for access. Fake concern makes you defend your growth, like it is a crime. You start proving you are not cold, not selfish, not cruel, not different in a bad way. And once again, you are explaining yourself to someone who benefits from your confusion. So use one clean line. "I hear your concern. I am still choosing this." Real concern respects your choice. Fake concern tries to manage it. When toxic people cannot control you directly, they often hide aggression inside humor. They make jokes about your confidence, your standards, your ambition, your new distance, or the boundary you finally had the courage to set. And when you react, they say, "Relax, I was just joking." But listen carefully. A joke can reveal what someone is too cowardly to say directly, especially when the joke always points at the same place. Your growth, your confidence, your discipline, your refusal to be used. That is not random. That is a pattern. And this is where kind people make the mistake. They laugh, not because it was funny, but because silence feels too tense. They laugh to protect the mood. They laugh to avoid making things awkward. But sometimes your automatic laugh is the permission toxic people were looking for. It tells them they can insult you softly, and you will help them hide it. So stop helping people disguise disrespect as humor. Pause, look at them calmly, and ask, "What did you mean by that?" Do not say it with anger. Say it slowly. Because toxic people love implication. Implication lets them attack while pretending they did nothing. Direct language forces them to carry the meaning of their own words. Silence can be powerful, but toxic silence is different. Healthy silence gives people space. Toxic silence creates anxiety. Healthy silence says, "I need time to think." Toxic silence says, "Chase me, fix me, and prove I still control your emotions." When toxic people cannot control you with words, they often try to control you with withdrawal. They become colder. They reply later. They act distant. They make the room feel heavy, not because they want peace, but because they want you to panic. They are watching to see if the old version of you is still alive. The version that sends another message. The version that asks, "Are you mad at me?" The version that apologizes just to end the tension. That is how emotional control works. They create distance, you feel anxiety, you chase connection, and they regain power. But once you see the pattern, the spell breaks. Do not chase coldness. If someone needs space, respect it. But if someone uses silence to punish you, do not reward it with panic. Say it once, calmly. When you are ready to speak clearly, we can talk. Then stop. No chasing. No begging. No emotional performance. Because the person who can make you panic with silence has found a remote control for your nervous system. Take it back. Real silence protects peace. Toxic silence demands control. The next move is almost always the same. When you stop being endlessly available, toxic people start calling you selfish. But notice when the label appears. They did not call you selfish when you kept saying yes. They did not call you selfish when you were tired for them, available for them, or silent about your own needs. They only called you selfish when you stopped being convenient. That tells you everything. Sometimes, selfish does not mean you are doing something wrong. Sometimes, it means your obedience expired. Toxic people use that word because they know it hits kind people hard. It makes you explain. It makes you prove you still care. It makes you shrink your boundary just to look good again. So do not argue with the label. Use one calm sentence. You can see it that way. Then stop, because you are allowed to be misunderstood by people who only respected your kindness when they could benefit from it. When toxic people cannot control you privately, they may try to control how other people see you. They start telling small stories. Not enough to look cruel, but enough to make people question you. They say you changed. They say you became distant. They say you are hard to talk to now. Sometimes they even say they are worried about you. But listen carefully. This is not always concern. Sometimes it is reputation pressure. They know kind people hate being misunderstood, so they create a story that makes you want to run around explaining yourself to everyone. And that is the trap, because if you spend all your energy defending your image, you stop protecting your peace. So do not chase every rumor. If the person matters, speak calmly once. If they do not matter, let the noise pass. Use one clean line. People can believe what they want. I know what happened. Then keep moving, because the right people will watch the pattern, and the wrong people will enjoy the story. Because the right people will watch the pattern, and the wrong people will enjoy the story. But once you can see the pattern clearly, the question is no longer, why are they doing this? The real question is, how do you stop giving them access to your reaction? So how do you deal with toxic people when they cannot control you? First, slow down. Toxic people rely on speed. They want quick guilt, quick panic, quick explanation, quick apology. Do not give them speed. Pause before you answer and ask yourself, am I responding to truth or am I responding to pressure? That one question can stop you from walking into a trap. Second, use shorter sentences. The more toxic the conversation becomes, the shorter your words should get. Say, I already answered that. Say, I am not discussing this again. Say, that does not work for me. Say, my answer is still no. A short sentence gives them fewer doors to walk through. Because toxic people do not always listen to understand. Sometimes they listen to find the next opening. Third, reduce access. Not everyone needs a dramatic goodbye. Some people simply need less access to you. Less access to your emotions. Less access to your explanations. Less access to your reaction. Less access to the private parts of your life. Because some people do not need more chances. They need fewer doors into your mind. Here is the truth. Toxic people do not panic when you are angry. Anger still gives them something to control. They can twist it, use it, and point to it as proof that you are the problem. But calm distance gives them nothing. No panic, no chasing, no over-explaining, no emotional performance. That is when they realize the game changed. You did not become cold. You became clear. And clarity is dangerous to people who survive by confusing you. So stop giving emotional access to people who use your reaction against you. Stop proving your heart to people who only respected your kindness when they could benefit from it. And stop giving the old version of you to people who only knew how to control that version. Now be honest. Which toxic people's sign have you seen the most? Fake concern? Sharp jokes? Toxic silence? Being called selfish? Or rumors? Comment one word below. Concern, jokes, silence, selfish, or rumors. And remember this, the person who needs your reaction to feel powerful loses power the moment you stop giving it away.